Hello everybody, and welcome to the video where I take a look at the light novels that will be releasing next month, that being the month of February of 2018. If you'd like to help the channel out, I do have affiliate links in the description for both Amazon.com or the Book Depository, where you can pick any of these books up. If you're brand new to these series of videos, when I go through the original dates, I will read any of the blurbs from any new volume number ones, but I'll leave blurbs for the later volumes till the end of the video just to help to avoid spoilers. If there's any that you want to jump to specifically, I will have timestamps where I read their blurbs, and those will be in the description down below. Starting off on February 1st, we have kind of an interesting thing going on with Seven Seas. Now, the book is Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life? Volume number 1, and now this is a brand new series from Seven Seas. When gifted student Kurihara Misato dies right after her high school graduation, she meets God and has a peculiar request to make her abilities average in the next life. But few things, especially wishes, ever go quite as planned. As she navigates her new life as a 10-year-old girl in a magic-filled world, she realizes God has a unique definition of average. Now, what makes this kind of interesting, I'll talk about a little bit about the book in a minute, but what makes this interesting is that Seven Seas has the license for both the physical and ebook release of this title. This is one of the few titles that they have licensed themselves, but what's interesting is that the print release is not coming out until June. Initially, we kind of all thought that Seven Seas was just going to sort of simultaneously release both of these at the same time, but for whatever reason, they've decided to release the ebook several months earlier. Leaves me in a little bit of a quandary. I'm not too sure whether I want to pick up the ebook so I can be right on top of it, or whether I want to leave it and buy the print book. I think I'm leaning towards ebook just because A, it's a little bit cheaper, and B, well, let's talk about the title. I mean, there might be something really interesting done with this, but it just sounds like another one of those isekai reincarnation type titles with an OP main character. About the one thing that does kind of make it, I guess, a little bit different is that it's a female main character. Almost, well, the vast majority of these titles have been male-centric, so that might make it a little bit different. It'll be kind of interesting to see. Maybe what I'll do is I'll pick up the ebook just so I can review it right away, and then if I really think it's good, maybe what I'll do is I'll just pick up the print releases when they start coming out, and I'll like review volume 2 and going forward in the print releases. I haven't totally decided yet, but in any case, it's just kind of interesting to me that they're doing this. I have to wonder, and this is just me speculating, totally just on me, but I kind of have to wonder if, with Seven Seas, a lot of their light novels recently have been print of J-Novel Club's books. And J-Novel, of course, has already released these titles in ebook format, so Seven Seas kind of had an idea before they even decided to print the books whether they were a good seller or not. I almost am wondering if, because this is one title where they have licensed both the print and ebook, and because it's kind of an untested title, like it doesn't have an anime or anything else to sort of back it up fan base wise, I kind of wonder if they're releasing the ebook early just to test out the sales of it, to see how many copies they should actually pay to have printed for the print run. Again, this is just me speculating, but it just seems kind of, I can't think of really any other reason that Seven Seas would do that. Do it that way. I really just can't think of it. But, you know, who am I, right? I'm not in charge of book marketing at Seven Seas, so, but that's my guess. That's what I'm thinking they're doing. On February 2nd from J-Novel Club, we have volume number 2 of Outbreak Company. Now, I read and reviewed volume number 1, was actually pretty surprised by that book. I really did not have very high expectations for it, but it surprised me and even ended on a much more somber and intelligent note than what I would have given it credit for. Yeah, it was an interesting title. Certainly, like I said, a lot better than I expected, had a lot more originality than I expected. And so I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing what volume number 2 of that series has and just sort of seeing how the story continues from the point where it left off at volume number 1. On February 4th, we have volume number 9 of Invaders of the Rokujouma. Now, of course, this is another J-Novel Club title. They are pumping these things out once a month. I think that's mainly because there was a fan translation that had pretty much done a lot of the earlier volumes. J-Novel Club actually hired the guy who did those fan translations to continue translating it, and I guess they're basically using his translations, but they've just kind of polished them a little bit. That's the gist I get, which is why they seem to be able to sort of pump them out a lot faster. It's not because they don't have to be translated. They're just kind of giving a once-over, like editing and stuff, I guess. Nonetheless, this is one series that I read the first volume. I have fallen horribly, horribly behind. A lot of people tell me that I should try and get back into it, and there is a part of me that kind of thinks that I should, especially given how many people say this series not only is decent, but gets even better as it goes along. But again, it's just so hard to try and keep up with this one because J-Novel's just aggressive with their release schedule of Rokujouma. On February 6th of 2018, from 7 Seas, we have the print release of Arifrueta, From Commonplace to World's Strongest, volume number 1. The best-selling fantasy light novel comes to print for the first time. 17-year-old Hajime Nagumo is your average, everyday otaku. However, his simple life of pulling all-nighters and sleeping in school is suddenly turned upside down when he, along with the rest of his class, is summoned to a fantasy world. They're treated like heroes and tasked with the duty of saving the human race from utter extinction. But what should have been an otaku's paradise quickly turns into Hajime's nightmare. While the rest of his class are blessed with godlike powers, Hajime's job, Synergist, only has a single transmutation skill. Ridiculed and bullied by his classmates for being weak, he soon finds himself in despair. Will he be able to survive in this dangerous world of monsters and demons with only a glorified blacksmith's level of strength? I just want to say that I find this synopsis or this blurb very misleading about what this book is about. But at the same time, I don't really want to say much more because if you haven't read it or you have no idea what it's about, I don't really want to spoil it because yeah, I don't really do a lot of spoilers on this channel. But yeah, like if you're here listening to that and you're thinking like, oh, it's this or that. Yeah, you probably can't really imagine what this book turns into. Let's just say that like at about a third into the book, it changes tone a lot. But I do know that quite a number of you are very excited about this coming out in print, that a number of you have said that you were looking forward to it. I have reviewed the first 3 volumes of the series. I haven't had a chance to pick up and read volume number 4 yet. It is a very sort of OP, testosterone-fueled, isekai type story. It certainly got its up points, but certainly I can see the downsides of it. There is an anime going to be coming, but apparently it's been delayed. I believe it was supposed to release in April of this year, but it's now been pushed off, I think, until like January of 2019, or sorry, 2019. So almost a year. Like, so but I don't know. I don't know the full story. Just the little glimpses that I've gotten is, I guess they wanted more time just to make it really, really good. What I wonder, and this is just me wondering because I don't know. Supposedly the author put out something a little bit more extensive. If you've seen that statement, if you know what it is, feel free to let me know in the comments. But my guess is it seemed like a lot of people weren't too thrilled with the character images that were released initially. I'm kind of wondering if they decided to go back to the drawing board a little bit, maybe just to try and make the art match a little bit closer to the light novels. I'm not too sure, but that's just my gut feeling on it. Also on February 6th, and also from 7 Seas, Perfect Blue, Complete Metamorphosis. Kirigoe Mima is in the 3rd year of her career as a pure and innocent pop idol. Feeling like something big needs to change, she plans to give her image a major update. When the new Mima is revealed, complete with a sexy outfit and a risque photo book, one of her most obsessive fans refuses to accept her transformation. To restore Mima to the innocent girl of her debut, he puts a terrifying plan into action that throws her life into chaos and mortal peril. Now, if you're familiar with the anime movie Perfect Blue, this is what it was based on. And this is really interesting to me. Like, Seven Seas has been on a real roll lately in terms of their manga releases. They've been doing a bunch of like classic stuff. Like they've had like Captain Harlock. They've been issuing Space Battleship Yamato. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that they're putting out, like real classic type manga. And this is now like a novel. And of course, they brought out Record of Lodoss War just last month, which is beautiful and sitting on my desk waiting for me to read with a bunch of other books. But yeah, it seems like this is why I was a little weirded out by the whole, like the title I was talking about at the very start there. Seven Seas, when they license something themselves, they seem to be going for like these older titles, like these real classics that, you know, are considered, well, classics. I mean, you know, like anime fans, when you talk to a lot of, especially like older anime fans like myself, I mean, when we start talking about things that were series that really, you know, blew us away or made us really devoted to anime. I mean, Record of Lodoss War is a really early series that a lot of people fell in love with. But Perfect Blue, I mean, my God, like in terms of a film that showed me how anime could be used to create these very mature and engrossing mystery type stories that, because it was artwork, you could do things with it and change and play with it in a way that I don't think would have worked as well in live action. So I'm actually, again, this is another title that I'm really looking forward to, just to sort of see how that works. Now, I don't even know if I would say this is a light novel per se. I think this is more like a novel, but I'm not too sure. Again, like I'm only familiar with the movie, but just based on the content of the film, I'm going to say this is more of like an actual mystery type novel, a little bit more, you know, a little bit more sort of on a mature edge, a darker edge, probably not aimed at sort of the same audience that we see a lot of light novels. I mean, Seven Seas putting out a light novel with a 10-year-old girl, I don't think it's going to be that audience, not even a little bit, but it'll be very interesting to see. I'm really actually quite pleased that Seven Seas seems to be doing this, and I'm hoping they keep it up and they keep sort of going after these older licenses, stuff that, you know, as I said, it has a long-standing following in the anime community, but no one's really brought the actual books out. So it'll be interesting to see. On February 15th, from J Novel Club, we have volume number 3 of Clockwork Planet. This, of course, one of the co-authors is Yu Kamiya, who does No Game, No Life. That's what he's most famous for. Very interesting series. I read the first volume. Again, like I keep falling behind on these series that I said to myself, I like the first one. I'd like to read more. First one, very interesting, like a sort of steampunky, plus future, plus clockwork. Oh, it was neat. It was a neat world. Like the world concept was really kind of cool. The story wasn't bad, but I would certainly say that where it left off, though, was it really had me very engaged. I was like, I really want to know how this progresses where you've left this off now. And I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it really left off on a very interesting kind of note that made me think that the series could be very, very interesting going forward. Again, I unfortunately haven't had a chance to read any more of it. I'm so horribly behind. I wish I could learn how to speed read, but so far not really happening. On February 19th, also from J Novel Club, volume number 2 of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Now, I read the first volume of this. It is a bit of an ecchi, OP fantasy type series. I certainly didn't hate it. There was a couple of points in it that I enjoyed. One of those series that I think it's one of those ones you really shouldn't, I don't think you can make a firm judgment until you read a little bit more, but I think it kind of fits into that guilty pleasure kind of category. But funny enough, they just announced that this one's getting an anime as well. On February number 20th, yes, February 20th, we have also from J Novel Club, volume number 3 of Occultic 9. This one, it's been a while, I guess, since volume 2 came out. This, I think there was almost a year between these, I want to say. Of course, the anime was based on this series. I read the first volume, actually kind of recently I did, and it was pretty good. Like, very, very different. A whole bunch of sort of moving part storylines that all sort of started coming together towards the end, and then it left on this crazy cliffhanger, and I should really read volume 2 so that I know what happens next, and then I can get caught up and just in time for volume number 3. I don't know if the series is continuing. Like, I know when volume 2 came out, everybody was kind of like, there's gotta be more, but now that volume 3 is out, I don't know how this one ends. I don't know if it sort of leaves things open for more, if this is sort of going to finish it. Not too sure. Then on February 27th, we get the Yen On releases. Their first one is going to be A Certain Magical Index, volume number 14. Now, of course, lots of people happy. The season 3 of the anime has officially been announced. Everybody was waiting and waiting and waiting. Although that's kind of old news, I guess, by now. So, but what you guys who have been reading this series now, I admit I only read volume number 1 of this series. I have watched the anime though. What do you think? Is season 3 going to encompass up to this point? Is it going to go beyond? Will it finish the series? I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also on February 27th from Yen On, we have volume number 2 of The Empty Box and Zeroth Maria. One of my favorite reads of 2017. The first volume of this book, you know, there is lots of hype around this series, and for good reason. It was fantastic. I could not put that book down. Anytime I had to take a break for any reason, it was painful. It was a really, really good read. Just really fast moving, great paced, enough mystery and character building. Yeah, really, really good. I'm very, very looking forward to volume number 2 of that one. Also on February 27th from Yen On, we have volume number 5 of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? On the Side, Sword Oratoria. I don't know why they couldn't have just called it Don Machi Sword Oratoria, just to make it faster. But anyway, volume number 5 of that series that focuses on Eyes Wallenstein and the Loki familia. I only read the first volume. Not that it was bad. I mean, you know, Don Machi is one of my favorite series. I'm actually just coming to the end of volume number 10, which has been a really good book too. I think my main thing was that when I'm having such a hard time keeping up with series that don't have any spin-offs, don't have any, just the main series, it just kind of like, I couldn't make myself keep going with a side volume just because, well, yeah, like how many times have I said during this video alone, I wish I could have read this, or I've fallen behind in this. And to me, just reading side volumes, even though they may have great stories, even though they may have information that fleshes things out that the main series doesn't, there's just a part of me that I'm just like, if I have to make a choice, I'd rather not read a side story than you know, miss out on an entirely other series. So tough choices you have to make when you're just trying to keep up and review whatever's new and coming out and everything else. Like I said, speed reading, I need to learn. Also, they have volume number 10 of Log Horizon. Now, this is kind of interesting because for the longest time now, this has been the last volume of Log Horizon. The anime season number 2 covered up until this volume. So volume number 10 has been sort of the last material that we have had in print and in anime for a good long time. Now, the author of Log Horizon had quite the trouble with the law about taxes. Pay your taxes, kids. Just do it. Just pay your taxes. In any case, he's been free for a bit, and as far as I understand it, somebody was telling me that he had written more on the actual web novel version of this and had gone as far as they thought almost, you know, a 13th volume. And we were all kind of sitting there going, well, what's going to happen? You know, is that, are the companies just not touching him now because they feel that, you know, they don't want to be associated with that? Or are they just kind of waiting to kind of let things die down? Well, we just got the announcement that in March of 2018, volume number 11 of Log Horizon is being released in Japan. So the series is continuing. It is getting printed in Japan. We will probably have a pretty healthy gap, I would say, between this volume number 10 coming out and eventually getting that volume 11. As I said, just because it is still a couple months away in Japan, and then it'll probably be a couple months that yen translates and everything else after that. I read the first like 4 volumes of this series. I loved the anime, but I had a really hard time getting into the books, just I think because the anime was still really fresh in my mind when I was reading them. I may just hop on to volume number 11, you know, whenever that comes out, and just kind of go from there. We'll see. I typically don't do that because I find that there is still stuff lost if you don't read the actual books, but I might, in the case of Log Horizon, I might just do that. Also on February 27th from Yen on, we have volume number 6 of Psycho May. This is the end of that series. The last volume, not a very long series, which I think is good in a lot of ways. I've read the first 2 volumes. It's cute, it's fun, it's a little bit crazy. Psycho is probably a very good thing to have in the title. But I have not read further than that. And there's a part of me that kind of kicks myself because I'm like, it's only 4 more books and then you'd be done the series, like actually done. I don't know. Maybe I'll get around to reading it. Like I said, I did kind of like it. My only fear was that in the second book, it felt like it was kind of just going by the numbers a bit. The first volume I thought was hysterical. I loved it. It was so different from just about everything else at the time. But volume number 2, I was kind of like, it's good still. I still liked it. There were still some really like parts that I laughed out loud at. But yeah, I was just a little worried that how a certain character was going and stuff. I don't know. I just kind of put it on the back burner for a while and now I'm behind. Shocking. Also on February 27th from Yen on, a book that I will most definitely not be just letting me pass by, and that is volume number 6 of ReZero, Starting Life in Another World. Just a fantastic series. Love this series. Always enjoy it. Every volume just as good, if not better than the one before it. And volume 5 just, wow. Wow. Every time I mention volume 5, I'm sorry if you guys are getting sick of it, because every time I mention it, I'm like, wow, what a way that book ended. Wow. Just wow. So yeah, I'll definitely be picking that one up when it comes out. Now, funny enough, on February 27th from 7 Seas, we have volume number 1 of Clockwork Planet being released in print. So kind of funny, we're getting volume 3 ebook and volume 1 print edition in the same month. So of course, I've already talked about this series, so we'll just leave it at that. I will read the synopsis, of course, because this is a volume 1. From the creator of No Game, No Life comes an all-new steampunk light novel series that inspired an anime. What doesn't inspire an anime? Anyway, the Earth has died, but the entire planet has been reconstructed using gears and clockwork. 1,000 years later, a mysterious black box crashes into the house of a high school gearhead named Naoto Miura, a machine otaku who is obsessed with tinkering. The box contains the broken body of an automaton girl. When Naoto repairs the automaton and she becomes his clockwork companion, Naoto's world will never be the same again. It is a pretty cool series. Like I said, I really love the world building of this one. The story was decent. Certainly hit a number of anime type cliches, but the world building was just so, all the backstory and world building was just, it was really cool. That was what really sold me on that series. And then finally, in the month of February, we have Nikko Monogatari White. This was supposed to be releasing in January. Actually, it was supposed to be out, I think, today as I'm recording this video. Or no, the 30th. It was supposed to be out, I think. But anyway, it got delayed. So it is now coming out February 27th. I think that's pretty much guaranteed. I know that Vertical just tweeted out this week that they had started to get some physical copies into their office. So that obviously must mean that it's on track for that February release. However, what that means is that we were supposed to be getting the second book in the Zarigoto series, Strangulation, and that's been pushed off until next month, until March. So because of, I'm guessing, Nikko Monogatari's delay. I guess they don't want Nishio Ishin to be competing against himself in the same month. I don't know, but I guess it makes sense. But yeah, so we get Nikko Monogatari White, but we have to wait now for Strangulation. So those are all the books that are going to be releasing in February of 2018. I'll now read the blurbs for all of the volumes that are volume 2 and later. Again, if you want to avoid spoilers, you can stop the video here. If you want to review any of the release dates, I do have those listed in the description down below. So here we go. We're going to go all the way back now to February the 2nd. And that's J-Novel Club's Outbreak Company Volume 2. Is that really a spy? It's already been a few months since Shinichi came to Eldant, where dragons are commonplace and magic is real. His job is simple: spread otaku culture to the masses of this world. But of course, things aren't that easy. Are they ever? Eldant is in a state of war, and war includes espionage. So how will Shinichi and company deal with a spy in their midst? Add that to his growing suspicions about his own government's motives, and Shinichi definitely has his hands full. Heavy is the head that wears the otaku crown. February 4th, volume number 9 of Invaders of the Rokujouma. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and the girls of room 106 are scrambling in preparation for it. It's not all fun and games, however, because not everyone seems to be able to admit their true feelings. Ruth receives a strange message from her parents back home in Forthorth, leaving her with an important decision to make about her future. And on top of everything else, she seems to be getting closer and closer to figuring out what happened to Kotaro while he was away. February 15th, Volume 3 of Clockwork Planet. Are you telling me that it's an enormous electromagnet? In the wake of rescuing the mind-controlled anchor, moments later, Naoto and Marie come to a rude awakening over a crucial element of the behemoth's design: its natural ability to disrupt clockwork technology. Caught between a desperate Tokyo military and a doomsday weapon stronger than even they anticipated, the two geniuses are facing their greatest crisis yet. February 19th, volume number 2 of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. After being summoned to another world that resembled the video game Cross Reverie, Takuma Sakamoto accidentally ended up with two girls as his slaves: the Pantherian Rem and the elf Shera. Takuma, under the guise of his screen name Diablo, came to this world a powerful sorcerer, just like his avatar in the game. Along with the two girls and Emile, a devilishly handsome warrior, they managed to protect the town of Faltra from the looming threat of invasion by the malevolent Fallen. But that peace they brought upon the town did not last. The kingdom of Greenwood, a country of elves, makes a troubling demand. If their princess isn't returned to her rightful home within the time allotted, then the kingdom will declare war on Faltra. And it's up to Diablo and the others to prevent a war with the elves. So begins the second volume of an adventure with an earth-shakingly powerful demon lord, or at least someone who acts like one, taking on another world. February 20th, volume number 3 of Occultic 9. From the mind behind Steins Gate, Chaos Head, Robotics Notes, and Chaos Child, now a hit anime too. Question: do you believe in ghosts? Answer: of course not. Yuta Gamon, a young boy who lives in Kichijoji, runs an occult-related blog called Kirikiri Basara. He spends his days dreaming of making a fortune off his affiliate links. Suddenly, Yuta's blog brings together the fate of 9 strangers, as what starts off as a tiny feeling that something's wrong develops into a case that goes beyond imagination. Black magic, the afterlife, psychics, fortune-telling, other dimensions, prophecies, hypnosis, urban legends. The world is filled with flim-flam. The 3rd book in the paranormal novel Occultic 9 series. February 27th. Volume 14 of A Certain Magical Index. I'm just going to say there is no synopsis. I don't know why, but the synopsis that's on volume number 14 is from volume number 12, which is kind of useless. Maybe they're afraid there's too many spoilers? I don't know. Also February 27th, volume number 2 of The Empty Box and the Zeroth Maria. Same thing. No synopsis. No blurbs. Just has the blurb from volume number 1. I don't get it. Again, are they worried about spoilers? I'm not too sure. Volume number 5 of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon on the Side, Sword Oratoria, Volume 5. After the massive battle on the 59th floor, Loki Familia makes their return. However, along the way their progress is halted by the appearance of an irregular, and they make camp on the 18th floor. There, Eyes faces an unexpected and sudden reunion with a certain white-haired boy that a certain young elf couldn't be less excited to see. The other adventurers are all curious, hoping to find out more about the fastest-growing adventurer in history. But Lafia has other ideas. Volume number 10 of Log Horizon. Almost a full year has passed since Shiroe and the others found themselves stuck in Elder Tales. Most of the Akiba residents have grown accustomed to the new world, though they still don't want to be there. Minori delivers Shiroe a letter from Roe 2, his sub-character from the test server. He suspects she's someone who might be able to explain exactly why the catastrophe happened, and for what purpose. Volume number 6 of Psychome. The school festival has arrived, and the students of Class A are putting together a maid cafe. Renko Hikawa returns to the school after collapsing in her fight against Kiyosuke at the athletics festival, and she's looking forward to a school life even more enjoyable than before. When Renko's parents visit for the festival, they're even more determined to put an end to the relationship between their daughter and Kiyosuke by demanding him to drop out of school. With both the school's deadly exams and Renko breathing down his neck, will Kiyosuke finally sort out his feelings for the murder maid? Volume number 6 of ReZero, Starting Life in Another World. After suffering terribly at the hands of the Archbishop of Sloth, Betelgeuse, Subaru has returned once more to the capital with his ability returned by death. Swearing revenge, he'll need to find allies and borrow their strength to strike back at the witches' cult and save Amelia. But how will he manage that when he has nothing to offer, powerless as he is? Nikko Monogatari White. Launching into new territory that the author hadn't mapped out when he embarked on the series, Nikko Monogatari White tells the tale of heroine Tsubasa Hanakawa from her own perspective in her own voice. If that can hold true for a damaged soul who, depending on who you're asking, suffers from a split personality or a supernatural aberration. The bone-chilling brokenness of her household, where father and mother and daughter keep 3 separate sets of cookware in the same kitchen, and only ever prepare their own meals, and the profound darkness nurtured in the genius schoolgirl's heart come to life, if that is the word, through her self-vivisection. As for our customary unreliable narrator Araragi, we seem to learn revealing tidbits about him now that we have an outside view of him at last, while his lady friends Senjo Gahara, Hachikuji et al., freed from his predilection for proudly inane banter, show subtly new faces to us via their female interlocutor. Welcome to the 2nd season. And those are all the light novels that are going to be releasing in February of 2018. What are you most looking forward to? What are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're brand new to the channel and you love light novels, you should consider subscribing. I do this video once a month, as well as doing 2 to 3 reviews every single week, as well as a weekly countdown of the top 10 best-selling light novels in Japan. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye for now.